Transforming your life through hypnotherapy has never been easier. With the help of your host, Julie from CoachingHypnosis.net, and these power-packed minisodes, you're sure to find yourself engaging in more positive behaviors around both your physical and mental health. Here's your host, Julie.
G'day, it's Julie from CoachingHypnosis.net, and you deserve to know how to prevent depression, because people have had enough of being fabulously healthy but concerned about depression at the same time. And I'm not a therapist or psychotherapist, but this is my 10th year as a clinical hypnotherapist in strategic psychotherapy. I currently help my clients online. They change their life without changing out of their pajamas. And you deserve to know how to prevent depression, because you can. And maybe in the past, you've watched friends feel down in the dumps, watched them cry at cat videos, or noticed they were cancelling plans with your friends. And you don't want to end up like that. And you deserve to love your life, because you're fabulous, perfect in fact, even if you don't think so. And right now, depression is the #1 mental health disorder. According to the World Health Organization, depression's not only treatable, but it's also preventable. And just like people give up smoking to prevent lung disease or eat well to prevent diabetes, you have the opportunity to prevent depression. And depression can end up in your emails. It turns out what you text and type matters. Studies can now detect an individual at risk of depression from a cover letter to a complaint, an apology letter, or what you wrote about your holiday. What you say and write and type can help you prevent depression. And depression is winning. It is the current champion, the #1 mental health disorder. And while people are sick to death are talking about COVID-19, COVID-19 gave us a whole new level of understanding about depression. What couldn't people do during COVID-19? People couldn't socialize. They lost their jobs. Children had to be homeschooled. And worse, people got sick, and some people are still suffering from something known as long COVID. And that's when you get COVID, but it doesn't go away. And worse, some people even died. And there are some young adults out there that are suffering from massive guilt trips. Those who snuck out during lockdown, went to a rave, and some of their relatives got sick, and some of them even died. They're now trying to come to terms with a lack of critical thinking. Critical thinking can save you from a massive guilt trip and prevent you from being one of the hundreds of Americans at the Daily Plaza that were waiting for JFK to come back from the dead and join in a new political campaign. COVID's taught us a lot about culture and socialization, and when our culture is taken away from us, we kind of get sluggish, miserable, outraged, and depressed. And as you know, depression's not a brain disease or a brain illness, but it turns out lots of people don't know that. For some weird reason, being bombarded with COVID warnings and COVID campaigns, some people who have recently caught depression assume it's the same kind of thing. They are traumatized because they believe they've caught a brain disease, and worse, they think depression is a brain illness. And I can only imagine someone like you loves to help, is kind, caring, friendly, and can see this fabulous opportunity to educate your colleagues. So the next time you find yourself in conversation about depression, you don't need to be another expert on the topic, but what's most important, if you really colossally care, is to use your positive psychology and let people know you can recover from depression. And that might seem easy, but if you have friends that are motor mouths, it can be challenging to add the magic words, you can recover from depression. And those weirdos that think depression is genetic, 50,000 people participated in a study to understand if genes influenced mental illness, and it turns out, no, they don't. The good news is the data shows the study of depression has not been kind. And before I share with you the tools for how to prevent depression, I must warn you, I don't have a magic wand. And sometimes life happens and life becomes a bunch of BS. Like, how did all those brave doctors and nurses who were petrified of catching COVID-19 still get up and go to work anyway? As the muscles from Brussels, Jean-Claude Van Damme would say, you can act, you can transform, you can choose to change the world. Before I bang on about Dr. Michael Yapko, I need to let you know why I got out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning to attend one of his workshops on depression via Zoom in America. Dr. Michael Yapko is the world's leading expert on the subject of depression. He is the author of 16 books and he's a fabulous hypnotist. Dr. Yapko let us know he had recently been invited to participate in a long COVID study where hypnosis is being used to enhance the lives of people suffering from long COVID. The study's not complete, but so far the results look promising because hypnotherapy can help you see yourself in a whole new light. You can be walking around and thinking you're the bee's knees. In no time, depression is a system. Just like people who quit smoking to prevent lung disease and eat a good diet to prevent diabetes, depression has a system. And you can do a few things to prevent yourself from getting depression. Exercise. It turns out if teenagers exercise, it's better than antidepressants. This isn't true for all age groups. And you don't want to get depression, finally recover again, and then get it again. That would be the worst ever. But it turns out exercise improves your relapse rate of not getting depression ever again. So exercise, even a walk around the block will do. Do whatever you can manage. Depression is a system, and how you see is a visual system. You are bifocal. You are born with two eyes. You couldn't control that. If you show a circle to a baby and make it bigger, they become startled for a few moments. If you take the same circle and make it small until it disappears, they have zero reaction. We are wired from babies to recognize moving objects if they're coming towards us. Depression is also a system. Parts of you had no control over it. But just like a circle getting bigger, as babies we can get startled, and as we mature we can override how we feel, depending on the speed of the moving object. After all, Monet wasn't held back by his visual system. He had cataracts, so you can create the masterpiece of your life. Depression has over 250 symptoms, but it still has a pattern. To get diagnosed with depression, you need to have a bunch of the 250 symptoms. And you don't need to be a mathematician to work out there are multiple combinations of 250 symptoms. People who excel at gigantic panic attacks just love worrying about what can go wrong in the future, and then the panic attack shows up. Whereas depression loves you to look at the past and ruminate on things that once happened until you can't get out of bed anymore. If you end up with depression, you deserve to know the fastest way to get better and the best treatment for depression that has the highest recovery rate is CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, because it's future-oriented, not past-oriented. If Dr. Michael Yapko were to ask 1,000 people in a room who has a critical voice in their head and beats themselves up and tells them they're no good, too lazy, too poor, too fat, and everyone puts their hand up, Dr. Yapko will then ask how many people in this room have high self-esteem, and on average only 20 people will raise their hand out of 1,000. Dr. Yapko will then ask, do you not have a critical voice in your head? And all 20 will typically say that they do. So what do these high self-esteemers do differently? Some say they have a positive voice in their head that say nice things. Others say they just ignore the critical voice. Dr. Yapko asks, but how can you ignore it? How can you turn it off? You can't turn the volume down on your critical voice. The high self-esteemers explain they still ignore the critical voice in their head, or they reply to it, thanks for sharing, and move on with their day. Depression is like chess. You have to move and counter-move. As you already know, there are different styles of thinking. Not everyone thinks like Sheldon from the TV show The Big Bang Theory, or Joey Tribbiani from the TV show Friends, but there is still something known as external locus of control, or in psychology I think they call it negative attributional style. It's when you mainly focus on things that are happening to you. For example, if I said, I failed a maths test because I'm no good at maths, you can understand I'm blaming maths. That is external locus of control. If I say I failed a math test, next time I can study more or ask more questions to make sure I understand everything correctly, or read a book on positive thinking and ignore the critical voice in my head. Then I have strong internal locus of control. I take responsibility of what I can control rather than blame maths. Depression also really loves a global thinking style compared to an analytical thinking style. Depression just loves words like everything, everyone. For example, why does everyone expect me to do everything all the time? That's a global communication style. CEOs are fabulous when they have a global communication style because you're not bored to tears by their end-of-year speeches. The emotional speech of LinkedIn Jeff Weiner gave employees after the Microsoft deal. His speech started something like, "You know how I feel about this company. You know how I feel about all of you, but it's beyond a privilege to be working alongside you to build what we have, and we keep building." And then it went something like that dystopian future where robots replace people. That's been predicted in science fiction for decades. It's happening. And no one said, "What dystopian future?" or "I've been using the software Disco Diffusion to create artificial intelligent art." Are you referring to the dystopian style of cyberpunk futuristic mechanic dystopia by Greg Rakowalski? Or do you mean dystopia in the sci-fi style thrilling technology book Ghost Fleet by P.W. Singer, or the dystopian style that never gave in to the commercial view of sci-fi, like the book The Butterfly Kid? How are robots replacing people specifically? I mean, I just saw the opera Sun and Seas about the apocalyptic end of the world. They sung about when they die, they will just 3D print themselves, or if they miss their relatives, they'll 3D print them and talk to them. They 3D print coral at the bottom of the ocean because it lasts. And as I said, CEOs are fabulous. They're meant to have a global style to sum things up easily and not bore the pants off their staff and board members. And so while his speech was one of the greatest speeches ever, talking with a lack of specifics can make you susceptible to depression. So if you're feeling down and out, check. Is down and out a 5 out of 10, a 6 out of 10? Where do you feel it? In your tummy? Or is it a critical voice that says, "I'm feeling down and out," but your body feels fine? In fact, it feels fabulous. Depressive language can be found in text. For some, superlatives are the clue. Does it serve you to use superlatives and explain something was best or bestest, or to try and construct sentences that are well-formed to begin with? In a study titled Text-Based Detection of Risk of Depression, a total of 688 texts, 99,481 words, were analysed, and it turns out it's true. Depression can be detected early by your writing style. Next time you leave a 5-star review about your holiday, get specific. "Thank you. I just loved the taste of the Long Island iced tea at the swim-up pool bar. Yum. And the snorkeling tour was extremely informative. I had no idea the Barrier Reef is home to 30 species of whale, dolphin, and porpoise. I had so much fun in the sun. Thanks." But seriously, if you or you know someone is struggling with depression or at risk of developing it or want to prevent it, hypnotherapy might be a viable treatment plan. Here are the 5 ways hypnotherapy can assist in preventing depression. 1. Regulate those emotions like a senator in the White House. With hypnotherapy, you can learn to control your emotions like a chef controls their delicious recipes. Stress, no problem, just snap your fingers and boom, the stress is gone. Or if you're feeling particularly sassy, you can make those pesky stresses do a little dance before you banish them from your mind. 2. Boost that self-esteem. Feeling down in the dumps about yourself? Hypnotherapy can help you see yourself in a whole new light. You'll be walking around thinking you're hot stuff. 3. Pain. What pain? Chronic pain can be a real drag, but hypnotherapy can turn that pain into a distant memory. Just close your eyes and visualize yourself. You're on a tropical beach, pain-free, sipping a refreshing beverage. Bonus points if you can imagine your hot stuff. 4. Sweet dreams are made of these. Struggling with insomnia? Hypnotherapy can help you catch those Z's like a pro. Just close your eyes, count some sleep, and boom, you're out like a light. 5. Bye-bye trauma. Past traumatic events can weigh heavy on your mind, but hypnotherapy can help you say goodbye to that baggage. Just close your eyes, visualize yourself packing up all your traumatic memories into a giant suitcase and sending them off on a one-way trip to Timbuktu. Hypnotherapy can be a valuable tool In preventing depression, it can help regulate emotions, improve self-esteem, manage chronic pain, improve sleep, and deal with trauma. So if you or someone you know is struggling with depression or at risk of developing it, don't hesitate to seek out a trained hypnotherapist who can work alongside your current treatment plan. And remember, don't take yourself too seriously. A little bit of humor can go a long way in helping to prevent depression. Here is the #1 Prevent Depression Hypnosis Script for 2023. The universe is an orderly place and you're part of the universe. The universe is an orderly place and I am part of the universe. You release unhelpful thought processes and allow your inner wisdom to guide you. I release unhelpful thought processes and allow my inner wisdom to guide me. You let go of any pain and begin to allow complete inner healing. I let go of any pain and begin to allow complete inner healing. You are becoming more aware of your inner strength and freedom. I am becoming more aware of my inner strength and freedom. As you completely clear your thinking, you begin tuning into your most satisfying reality of living. As I completely clear my thinking, I begin to turn my most satisfying reality of living. You are more able to experience your inner strengths and opportunities. I am more able to experience my inner strengths and opportunities. Change naturally occurs in your life as you begin working in harmony with your own deeper self. Change naturally occurs in my life as I begin working in harmony with my own deeper self. You are more able to enjoy each moment of your existence. I am more able to fully enjoy each moment of my experience. As you begin to appreciate your own unique strengths and advantages, it becomes easier to discover those situations where success will come naturally. As I begin to appreciate my own unique strengths and advantages, it becomes easier to discover those situations where success will come naturally. Growth continues to occur because you allow yourself to achieve your full potential. Growth continues to occur because I allow myself to achieve my full potential. You have fully enjoyed your flow of experience as your inner resources become fully available to you. I fully enjoy my flow of experience as my inner resources become fully available to me. You are naturally able to create what it is wanted in your life, easily learning what is needed each step of the way. I am naturally able to create what is wanted in my life, easily learning what is needed at each step of the way. As peace expands, pleasure grows, and your most satisfying reality continues to develop. As peace expands, pleasure grows, and my most satisfying reality continues to develop. You are able to clarify and identify those things that work well for you. I am able to clarify and identify those things that work well for me. You have all of the resources and equipment which are necessary to make wise decisions in your life. I have all of the resources and equipment which are necessary to make wise decisions in my life. Greater self-trust is discovered as a deep inner understanding is found. And as you awaken, new learnings will become available in your mind, and you will be wonderfully satisfied and refreshed. So what if you thought about preventing depression differently? And what if you didn't? The choice is yours.